So I'm a father of one. I gotta find a babysitter. I found Care.com and I was blown away. Through the platform, I was able to find local and experienced candidates along with their reviews and rates, which were way more affordable than I anticipated. Care.com really put me at ease knowing that they were all required to go through a background check. If you're like me and you need to find someone reliable for your childcare necessities, check out Care.com. Find the ideal sitters for your childcare needs.
If you're in the market for investment-worthy bags, watches, and fine jewelry, Rebag is the answer. Rebag is a luxury resale marketplace where each piece is carefully vetted and verified by experts to ensure quality and authenticity. If you're in the market, use Rebag to buy and sell finds from the world's top brands, including Hermes, Chanel, and Cartier. Head to Rebag.com to get 10% off your first purchase with code REBAG10. Shop today at Rebag.com. That's REBAG.com and use promo code REBAG10 for 10% off your first purchase.
Welcome to the PowerCat Podcast, GoPowerCat.com's Kansas State Athletics Show. Make sure you're subscribing to our show at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, from the GPC studios, here's your host, GoPowerCat publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
It's the Overtime, your weekly indulgence into stupidity
I'm drunk right now.
and random crap.
What a load of crap.
Brought to you by the best restaurants in Manhattan, Taco Lucha and So Long Saloon. Lucha and Saloon. Lucha, proud employers of Ryan Gilbert, and they'll be proud of the fact that this week's podcast doesn't include Ryan Gilbert, so it'll be really good.
How do you know this?
I think. I hope so.
Is that where he's at?
I don't even know. I just feel like he didn't feel invited since we were doing 3 people podcasts this summer and you were coming to town. I think he said, I'm out. But to be clear, we'll be recording more podcasts this week because Zach and I are both going on vacation simultaneously, which is a really good move on our part.
Yeah, where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in the southeast corner of the United States. I will
also be in the southeast corner of the United States.
But you'll be laying on a beach. I'll be driving everywhere.
I'm going on vacation. Do you?
Oh, boy. Folks, there will be nothing on the site for about a 10-day period.
I swear if anybody commits,
Oh, yeah.
you might not know about it.
But anyhow, we'll get it all done. But we are going to record some podcasts. Life of Fitz podcasts are getting recorded. There'll be some daily deliveries put in the can. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I got to come up with a theme to do from the road, I think.
Just do them here.
Do them all here?
Yeah, do them here so I can get them done on Monday. And
I don't think I can go over that many topics, especially with the Pac-12 stuff. Maybe spilling into July now. But this is the podcast in which you can ask us almost anything, and we'll answer a lot of those questions, as long as you're not too
Naughty.
distasteful. That's my job. But get into So Long and Lucha. I love them. I adore them. They're delicious. They have such a great selection of beers. They have every one of my top favorite beers on tap between the 2 places. Yuengling, Big Wave, and Pacifico.
Don't forget Modelo.
I do like Modelo, too.
you don't like Dos Equis Amber?
I don't mind it. It's good.
Okay.
I like both Eckies, even when it's ambered. That's my knowledge of beer right there. Reading your questions from Wabash Station will be the one and only Cole Cosmetic Surgery Carmody
Thank you.
with a beautiful little button nose.
We have 3 amazing contributors to the show today, by the way.
Just 3?
Just 3.
So we're not doing one question only. We're doing questions from 3 people. Well, we had a horde questions because we got to do another one of these later in the week with Gilbert that will be on in July. There's Daphne contributing.
So the first one comes from King Jim 77. What is your ideal death row meal? It must consist of an entree, 2 sides, a drink, and a dessert.
I like how he says that as if it's like we're on death row and like just like normal times, not like the final meal. He didn't say final meal.
I would
but
assume this is
he means final meal. Probably say just a general meal from Jack Stack of brisket with cheesy potatoes, fries, and then I'd probably do like a slice of birthday cake.
What's your
somewhere.
drink?
A drink? Probably can't be alcohol because that'll mess with all the drugs going into you. Then again, you're dying, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't let you have a beer. I'll say like a Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah, that get all hyped up for that execution. What was it?
So it's an entree,
Yeah.
2 sides, a drink, and a dessert.
Okay. Yeah. I got it right here.
Let's hear it.
I am going to have Cox Brothers sausage. I love that their sausage is so good. And then Mac and Jack in their potato salad. Now, there was a point in my life when this answer would have been lasagna and then something else. My drink will be lemonade, but not just like Minute Maid lemonade. I want fresh squeezed lemonade. I want simply lemonade, whatever that is. Now, that's what I want. And then a dessert, probably some kind of cheesecake.
I think cheesecake's a solid choice. I think I'm going to have cheesecake for my dessert, like New York style cheese. Did you guys get New York style cheesecake when you were?
No.
You didn't go and get a slice of cheesecake?
No.
Did you go to the Cheesecake Factory?
There isn't a Cheesecake Factory on Manhattan.
I'm just.
We would have, though.
I'm really surprised that. I mean, it's where all the cheesecake's made. I think in the world.
The factory.
It's at the factory.
Yeah, it's at the factory.
They might. I think Junior's Cheesecake is the New York City thing.
Juniors.
Yeah, because it's like
It's not Juniors. It's Juniors.
It's Junior's.
it's the family that owns the factory. Junior's their son that spun off and did his own
Are you
thing.
sure
Tell
it's
you
not
what, though,
J.I.'s?
if we were staying near a Cheesecake Factory, we probably would have eaten there every meal, and it wouldn't have been that much more expensive than other.
Truth.
Okay, so I have 2
Options.
favorite martinis, being the man's man I am. A lemon drop martini is my absolute favorite, very manly, fruity. And then I was in there and had a cable car martini at Cheesecake Factory many years ago, not realizing that it was literally stolen from the Bellagio. Like the recipe was created by a mixologist at the Bellagio. And so I've had them there. Every time we go to Vegas, we try to stop in the Bellagio so I can have one of their They're amazing.
But there's a Cheesecake Factory like every block. You could have gotten one there.
No, I want the authentic one. Well, one time I dropped by Hyde when Kelly, our friend Kelly in Vegas, worked there. I dropped by Hyde during the day with my buddy Todd, rest in peace, buddy, just to say hello. And she goes, Fitz, you just missed the mixologist. He was here working on some drinks with our bartenders. The guy who created the cable car was here like an hour ago. And I go, I would have loved to have met him because that drink, I mean, it's rum, martini. I don't drink rum. It's incredible. But she said, and plus we've got this nitrogen freezing system. He taught me how to make a frozen cable car martini for you. And I'm like, what? It was incredible. It was like an icy of alcohol delights.
So that's on your death row.
Yes. I probably couldn't have to have that virgin.
Yeah, I bet it's still good, though.
I'm not going to die a virgin. That's not what I meant.
Okay, I'm going to answer my question. I haven't even answered.
Yeah, you haven't yet.
I'm going to say a steak, not just any steak. This is going to be a steak that my grandpa has to grill on his grill, and that is on his back patio. It is it's not an old grill, but it's like, it's kind of holds sentimental value.
This is beginning to sound like an escape plan.
Well, it might be that. And then a twice baked potato, but my grandma has to be the one to make it. Okay, twice baked potato.
That's. I feel like that caveat that your grandma must be alive to make it. Just, I don't know.
Well,
seems kind of
like you're
you're
gonna get
cheating
to
the hangman.
I think you're trying to, set yourself up, but I feel like you're going to get to murdering later in life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it depends how much if this guy pays for my car insurance. Or
You might murder him. Okay.
I'm not saying. And then I'm going to say just some asparagus. So I have a steak, asparagus, twice baked potato, and then we'll say a slice of cheesecake, and then I'll go with some fresh lemonade.
Your final pea is going to smell.
Maybe, exactly. Maybe I should have some Brussels sprouts.
Oh, I actually love Brussels sprouts.
Oh, good God. At least if I eat the Brussels sprouts, I'll look forward to death.
I'm assuming you don't like asparagus?
Oh, I'm okay with asparagus, particularly if it's grilled.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. It's not. My favorite fruit is macaroni and cheese.
I do got to say,
Vegetable. I've been vegetable.
my favorite death row meal that people like eat is the KFC. Bucket of chicken, mashed potatoes, some sodas, and then like a chocolate cake or something. That is like the quintessential death row meal. I would be unopposed to that.
Yeah, that's good.
Just KFC.
I knowing me, I think my goal would be to eat something that would cause me to crap wildly at the point of my execution. Just to really let that stick in everyone's brain. I didn't see him die. I saw him spew feces up against the window of the observation area.
Did you know that when they execute? Do you know that when they execute people, they'll stuff cotton balls up there? You know what?
Okay, now in the big picture of bad jobs to have, I don't know. I don't think Mike Rowe's dirty jobs would even go there. I'm here at the prison to stuff cotton balls up a man's ass before he's killed.
I think Mike Rowe would do it. Because I feel like Mike Rowe supports the death penalty.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he does.
So, I think he'd do it.
A good segue for the next question.
That's God, I'm worried now.
From King Jim. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly cut you a blank check from the Kansas government. What improvements do you make to Manhattan to enhance it as a tourist destination? That's not where you thought this question was going to go.
I was going to say, probably fix KU Stadium. Let's see. I would probably...
Well, you got to fix the back parking lot first. That's one of the first things you have to do in Aggieville.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that makes it more of a tourist destination, but Aggieville is a tourist spot, right? So, like, it improves the overall, touristy ability of Manhattan.
Blank check.
Like that wording.
Yeah. Aggieville completely redone. Downtown completely redone. Multiple skyscraper hotels.
Skyscraper. Yeah.
And then out by the highway, annex Manhattan. I don't know how you do that, but just towards the highway. Maybe you build like the little, what we talk about, the Scenic Drive extension all the way. We'd love to see that. Down there, towards there, build our giant sports complex, hotel, casino, water park, amusement park. Amphitheater. And then use the rest of that money to get musical acts to come and pay them up front. And then we keep all the ticket revenue, and we probably operate at a loss, but we get Taylor Swift.
Oh, I'm in. That's exactly where it's going to go. I have this strange dream of having a casino between, like, at exit 303. So it serves Junction City and Manhattan. I mean, it'd be great. Fort Riley soldiers would be a big customer. A big casino with a convention area with sports fields, secondary, or is third-dairy a word?
Tertiary.
Well, I like third-dairy better. Hotels, more like, for families. So you're not staying in a casino. And an amphitheater in which you could basically have a country stampede level event there with camping and everything. That whole area would be developed in my world. And granted, a lot of it's a floodplain, but that's why you put soccer fields and baseball fields and those type of things out there on that floodplain and, try to protect them. But if they get wet...
Turf.
Yeah, they get wet.
They're fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I do. And I actually think that would be great economic development. I really wish... you look at some of the great known amphitheaters around the world, and they're kind of in rural areas that people are willing to drive to. And I think if you did that out here in the Flint Hills, you could have something really
cool,
really beautiful and cool. And somewhere 3 miles away, a neighbor would complain about the noise. It's so loud. It's really loud.
Is there anything else we'd like to add to that?
No, but I'm going to talk about spice a lot.
Use the rest of the money. And I like how I say the rest of the money because
Yeah,
it's a blank. It's a blank check. Buy an NBA or NHL franchise and build the nicest arena in the league and move them here.
Would you move them to Manhattan?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Wow.
blank check. We can pay the league $3 billion for an expansion franchise, and I think they'd say yes.
I probably would put it in KCK. You know, like cheat it this direction. And then Lawrence would probably try to claim it.
I mean, Lawrence could be in the Manhattan metropolitan area if they decide to change their affiliation here.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be the argument we make, but you could make it work.
Zach is just in the process of building just this metropolis.
Yeah. You build it and they will come.
Zach, you mentioned high-rise. Would there be a market in your dream world of a high-rise condo facility so people could just buy condos and live there instead of sprawling across Pot County?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll sprawl Pot County too. We're gonna use all of this, the rest of the money, to build 1,000, 5,000 homes, and we're just gonna give them away.
Oh, gonna give
them away, so then people come here, and then they have to find jobs to live here, and then
and then the hockey team could be the Manhattan Freeloaders. There we go.
Yep. It's the Manhattan blank checks.
Zach also wants to move the ocean into the Kansas River. He wants to build a beach. He wants to physically do that.
Okay,
It's not
seriously
too much
though,
It's not
I think
too much.
I think you could read, and I think there might have been a plan for this. Somebody drew something up, but you could. I don't know how to say
Redirect?
it. Not redirect, but renovate. You could make the Kansas River nicer and build kind of like a Branson Landing type of joint.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's realistic.
And honestly, if you don't know your Manhattan history, the whole reason we have Manhattan, Kansas, New Boston,
Yep.
is because the barges coming down the river got caught on the sand that you can still see those areas as you pass over the bridge. When the water's low, it's right there. So I think you're right. I think it would solve a lot of problems for the entire community if you went and excavated that, dredged it and dug it, made it much more deep. Mm-hmm. And so you could have boating on it and you could have more fun out there, and then put in a landing area on, not far from downtown, actually. Kind of cool. Good ideas.
I hope they're listening to us.
Oh, man. You got good ideas.
From King Jim once again, what are your favorite high school stadiums to visit in Kansas?
I hardly ever cover high school athletics. I hardly covered it when I was covering high school athletics. I mean, I was going to Salina Stadium all the time and maybe on the road once in a while. But for some reason, many years ago, I went to the Marysville Stadium for something. I feel like I spoke in the park there. And then that night they had something. I was on my way to a Nebraska game. And so that shows you a time frame right there. But that Marysville High School Stadium is a cool setting. It's kind of built into a hill. It's very cool.
Zach?
I don't think there's a single high school stadium in Kansas that is my favorite to go to.
So-
I'd rather go to any generic Texas football stadium.
I mean, that's
Truthfully.
fair, but honestly,
I don't think there's
we're comparing high school football in Kansas to high school football in Texas.
Junction City's new stadium is
cool.
not cool.
What?
No.
Oh, it just insulted him.
Why is it not cool?
It's some generic bleachers and a tiny jumbotron that they don't use.
They don't use it.
And the concessions are all the way where you'd think the locker rooms should be. It doesn't make any sense how long you have to walk.
Who cares about concessions at a high school football game?
Exactly. Why should somebody care enough to walk all the way to the other end zone to get concessions? Because you didn't want to build two?
It's weird.
Probably so you can serve both.
Most of the high school
fans,
kids are
but-
just smuggling in alcohol anyhow.
I actually really like it in JC because they have the overlooking the school's right there, and there's like a little cardio deck. Now that's like the inside of the school where you is that a lawnmower?
I think our mowers are here, or my neighbor's mowing for the third time this week.
But I'm also very basic when it comes to stadiums. Like, I'm from Olathe, so I played at ODAC. I played at CBAC. We played at the Blue Valley District stadiums. There's not a lot of cool stadiums that I've been to. I'll answer this as far as baseball goes, since I have been around a little bit more. Rossville Stadium is actually kind of cool. It's really tiny,
weird.
but it's quirky. Like the road,
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's the super high wall, and the light pole actually is in play, or it was in play until this spring. There was a storm, and the light pole fell onto the field because we were supposed to play a JV game there that day. And they said, we can't play it. We got to come to you because our light pole fell onto our field.
I hate it when that happens.
Somebody on Reddit has been taking all of the high school baseball stadiums, like all of the fences like that exist in the state, and putting them into one picture and just seeing how far all of them are. Like there's some that have like 750-foot fences, which I don't know if those are actual, like if they play it that way, but that's what their stadium is. And just it's funny seeing all the shapes, but Rossville would definitely be one that sticks out on a graph like that.
Also, I'll say this. Apparently, Clay Center's football field was really cool. It was like one of the most historic stadiums in the state, and they just like tore it up and they're redoing it. Because we played baseball up there, I didn't realize that the stadium, everybody's like, oh, where'd the stadium go? So if you're from Clay Center, apparently you had a cool stadium. I never saw it, but apparently it was pretty cool. So there you go, King Jim. I know we didn't answer your question, but
I don't have any favorites.
I'm going to say ODAC because it was my stadium.
Olathe District Athletic Complex. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good job.
Context clues.
Yep.
The Humans will be back with more of the Overtime podcast.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Welcome back to the Overtime. Speak Humans.
From Poan Salon. What are some towns or areas of Kansas you have never been to, and do you have any desire to go to at any point?
I've never been to Poonsville. No. I mean, there's areas of western Kansas that are cool that I've never been to. Like we went to the Monument Rocks. Honestly, I thought they were going to be bigger. I really did, but they're very cool. So there's some areas out there, yeah, but not really.
It depends on the context, right?
Uh-huh.
Like if you're going there for a reason.
I'd like to go to Nicodemus for the history of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even down in southeast Kansas, there's a Civil War battlefield we've been to, which was cool. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it is preserved. So, yeah, I got no problem. There's just other areas of the country I want to explore. You know, I've got a lot of areas of the country I want to get to before I even think about Europe. I mean, I'd love to go to Ireland, but I haven't been to Asheville, North Carolina. And that's one of the places we're going this summer. And it's just, I haven't been to Montana. I haven't been to Yellowstone or Jellystone. Either one. What?
I love how you're like, man, I really want to go to Ireland, but got to go to Asheville, North Carolina first. Got to, it's just the standard transition there.
It's beautiful.
Got to go to Asheville before you go to Ireland. What a weird thing to say.
There are some places in Kansas I've been to that now I look back on and I'm like, that's pretty cool. One of the places is Galena, Kansas. You guys are familiar with Galena? Do you know where that is?
Is that?
I'm not sure where it's at.
No.
It's like southeast Kansas, border Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. It's right by the casino.
Oklahoma, Missouri, like right in that border. And Route 66. It's right off Route 66, and so it's kind of cool because you kind of get a sense of what it was like. And so, like, we went in there, and there was this really old building, and apparently it was like a brothel, I guess, when it was like in its heyday, but it's haunted now.
Is it still open?
I don't know.
The last thing I need to do is go to a haunted brothel.
It is still open. I know you can tour it, and that's what we did, and it was fascinating. So.
I think it would be fun to do Route 66.
Yeah,
like
like something
not just
like
Kansas, because I think Kansas has like the shortest stretch of Route 66 of the road. But I think doing something like that would be fun. But I don't really have any desire to go elsewhere. I mean, it would be fun to do the whole like 105 county trip where you just knock off all the counties in as little time as possible. But other than that, I mean, even that would be pretty boring.
I would
but it'd
say,
be fun to say you've been to all the counties.
I mean, if we had to rank the parts of the state, Southeast Kansas has to be the lowest part of the state, right? Like,
what?
It's like like as far as like the nice parts of the state. And I'm not. This is not meant to be a shot.
Yeah, it is.
No, the
Southeast Kansas is beautiful.
No, Southeast Kansas is underrated.
You think Southeast Kansas is underrated?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, granted,
because Southwest Kansas and Northwest Kansas, and just basically anywhere after Hayes, and saying after Hayes is a little bit of a
Southwest
stretch.
Kansas. I'll say Southwest Kansas is probably has Southeast Kansas.
Man, you get to.
I've just spent a lot of time.
You get past Salina a little bit, you're just like, all right, we're out here. Southeast Kansas is a little different because you got trees, you got some winding roads. It's a little different. But also, after driving down there with Gills, it wasn't that pleasant of a trip driving through everything.
I drove from Manhattan to Pittsburgh earlier this summer, and instead of going through Kansas City, I decided to go the back way. It was...
Why would you go through Kansas City to get to Pittsburgh?
Because you have to.
No, I've gone there many times from here. Like down.
And you go through all the little towns. See, like I like doing that.
The quickest way is going through Kansas City, though.
On the maps, but not in all reality.
No.
I promise. I tried.
No. It's quicker to go through Kansas City, I'm certain. Because you get interstate and then you get Highway 69.
You do, and
it's basically interstate grade, so.
Well, next time you make that drive, let me know.
Okay, never done it, so.
From Poon Saloon, once again, what is the most interesting piece of Kansas history to you? Zach, you put this question in here?
Just for you, Cole, Fitz and I are going to go to sleep.
I'm curious what you think.
I've got
the snoring music.
I want to hear what you have to say.
I think the most interesting part of Kansas history is the entire reason why we have Jayhawkers and the battles along the border leading up to the Civil War. It's fascinating. The burning of Lawrence, which I think we're all in favor of. We can agree on that. But, the fact that slave-owning or slave-supporting Missouri assholes,
bushwhackers,
did it. It was so violent, so hateful. I mean, it was almost like the equivalent of a college rivalry that spilled into war. The states hated each other that much because Kansas coming in as a territory, the whole purpose was to be a free state. And Missouri wasn't in favor of that. Even though they weren't technically a slave state, they were certainly aligned with that as a border state. But I think that's just fascinating, how violent that was. I mean, there was literally raiding parties that would just, go into Missouri or go into Kansas and kill people and come back. It's crazy.
I think it was interesting how if Kansas territory was still, like if that was the borders they used, like Denver would be in Kansas.
Oh, I know.
That'd be fun.
We should have it. Let's just claim
Take it back.
Well, let's just invade. Let's invade Colorado because at some point, everyone in Colorado will go, dude, okay. That's my Colorado style.
I'm going to answer this question and just with the history of all the Native Americans. Like, there's so much Native American history
incredible.
in this state that people don't really realize. Like, the state is literally named after Native Americans. And so I think that's a history that Kansas doesn't embrace as much as it should. Now, you get out west and there's a little bit more of that. But, I mean, between that and the conquistadors, there is so much
I
history.
got to Lynchburg and went, let's turn around and go home. That ain't out here.
looking for the gold, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot of interesting, but I mean, John Brown also has to be at the top of the list. And it's iconic. I think a lot of people know about that and why there isn't more of Kansas history leaned into by some of the state universities. I honestly, I don't understand, because this is the most interesting state in the area. Like, besides Oklahoma, which obviously has a lot of history, I mean, it's more interesting than Missouri. It's more interesting than Nebraska. It's more interesting than Iowa. I mean, there is a lot of history in the state that should be leaned into that just isn't.
I think Missouri's pretty interesting, but, kind of the wrong side of history interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's more interesting than Colorado too.
I'm totally blanking. What's the area? Zach, gotta help me. If you're, oh crap, the river, the stream that goes under I-70, that's just outside of east of Manhattan. There's an exit right there. No,
the Blue River.
Wait, no. What am I can't even think of it.
Deep Creek?
Yeah, Deep Creek. Oh. That whole area. I did a historical tour, like the Historical Society. This was years ago. The history of that area is incredible. Literally, the Indians, the Native Americans, would migrate up into that area for the summer, following the south wind when it was warming up and coming up here, and then go back to Oklahoma for colder times, which is kind of funny. It's not that much further away. But out there you have Native American relics, pioneer relics. They've found mammoth bones. It's just been an area through history where people and animals have migrated through because it was such rich soil. Just fascinating. But yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Good question.
That was actually good.
It's interesting that The Wizard of Oz took place here. Mm-hmm. It's a documentary.
But it actually took place in Nebraska in the book.
Did it really?
I don't know about the movie. We're talking about the movie.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Nebraska in the book.
Was it?
I think so. Let's just look that up. I just might have spread misinformation, which I'm not opposed to doing, but...
Fake news fits.
That's a good nickname. The movie has the name Omaha in it, reflecting that the wizard originated from Omaha, Nebraska, just as the book. Okay.
So you were right.
Kind of. Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Next question comes from Poon Saloon once again. With MBAF and Kansas State continuing to grow the Manhattan community, how do you think the town changes in 30 to 50 years?
Well, housing will be a lot more expensive. Wamego will be connected, completely connected. That whole area will be developed. They're going to have to probably try to wrestle some land back from the federal reservoir to develop. And there's just not many places for, the areas I talked about with the sports development's a floodplain, so you really can't develop that, which would be north of the airport, basically.
I think the university's going to need to give up some land that they own. They own a lot of land up kind of towards Colbert Hills and kind of out. I think that a lot of land that the university owns probably will end up needing to be developed for housing.
Well, and, setting aside that what research they do out there and, for the university and students, that might be a way for them to help their budget issues, sell off that land. But yeah, it's going to get much more congested and crowded. They're going to have to develop more arteries here. They're going to have to take Marlette all the way through towards Wamego. As we mentioned, there's a master plan somewhere of taking Scenic Drive, which I would like to be Weefall Drive, all the way out to the highway and the interstate. That's interesting. But yeah, it's just going to be much different. And hopefully by the time I retire, my house will be worth $700,000. That's my retirement plan. That and winning the lottery. That's my financial planning is elite.
How far away are you from retirement?
Like a week.
And is your house close to $700,000 in value right now?
Yep, not half. No. We're humble people.
I don't really have an answer to this question since I haven't been here that long. Fitz, you've seen it. I don't know.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
It's so constant. There's constant movement going. You don't really realize how incredible it was. We had some friends come in, and he hadn't been here for I don't know how many years. It wasn't that long. It was like 5 years, 6, whatever. And he's like, "What's that?" And I go, "That's a soccer stadium." "What's that?" "Well, that's the new volleyball and Olympic training facilities." And then we, sees the football practice facility, and then he sees NBAF. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's incredible what's happened here, and then all the things to go with it. I think as much as NBAF is going to change the community by bringing in high-paying jobs, I think the Marvel villains at Scorpion Pharmaceuticals will have a similar impact by building that huge facility on 24. I think that will be the thing that really connects the two towns together, because they'll just have to develop all that.
Yeah, I think that you'll see Highway 24 developed all the way to St. George, and it wouldn't surprise me if USD 383 actually combined with St. George schools and took over Rock Creek and made it a second, air quotes, Manhattan High.
It's so far out there, though.
I don't think it will be at some point.
I don't think it's not as far off as you think. I understand what you mean, but 30 years from now, it wouldn't surprise me if they actually built a new Rock Creek High School and they built it closer to 24.
I'll tell you right now that it needs to be updated. Like, that building needs to be.
I mean, they just expanded.
They did the middle school. They built the middle school, so that they built the middle school right on top of the high school. But
I think that. I don't think that Manhattan will ever build their own second high school. If they build a second high school, I think it'll be out east towards St. George, and I think that USD 383 will come to an agreement to
I think you're right.
annex Rock Creek and make that the second high school in the district versus doing a second one. But I think that a lot of people that live, if you live on the other side of, the Blue River, I think that those kids that live in Manhattan right now that would go to Manhattan High or go to Manhattan schools, obviously they can go to Oliver Brown Elementary. That's where they built the new elementary school. So you would think that as the population grows that way, a lot of those kids, they do opt to go to Rock Creek. They don't go to Manhattan, and Rock Creek ultimately is about as close to them as Manhattan High is.
That's true.
So I think if you still see this, continued development towards 24, towards, St. George, I think that that's probably eventually going to be the answer is, building a new high school, probably a little closer to Manhattan, but still towards St. George, put it on 24 and, try creating a 5A or 6A school there.
So I was just in Salina, my hometown, and I was on the eastern part of town. I grew up on what was the last street in town, and now it's in the middle of that portion of the town. And we drove through another area, well up by the municipal airport, and down Magnolia. All of this was fields 40 years ago, and now it's all completely developed. And I was just blown away. So that's a 40-year window of the amount of development that Salina's had with no population growth. It's just been a redistribution of population. So I can't imagine what Manhattan might go through in the next 40 years when the population potentially could go from 50 to 75, 50 to 60. I mean, it's going to be a notable increase, whether it's 20% or 50%. The amount of housing and development that'll take place is just going to be incredible. It's going to be almost like Frisco, Texas, in the way it blows up.
What's interesting? It's funny you bring that up because I have family that live in Frisco, and they moved roughly 20 years ago. And when they moved there, it was middle of the nowhere. It was the middle of nowhere. There was nothing really around, but it was interesting. We'd go each year, everything, if something was under construction when we'd visit, we go back the next year, and not only is that done, but there's something else done that's next to it that wasn't even started yet. But what was interesting about that is you drive through these, there's nothing around. It's country roads, but you pull up to an intersection and there's, a little strip mall with like a dentist in it or a donut place, a Subway, something like that. And there's no houses around. There's no reason for that to be there. But there's businesses there. There's a Sonic just out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you see stuff like that businesses, and it's like, how are they building these businesses out here when there's nobody around? Eventually the houses came around and it made sense, but it was interesting seeing the business development side saying, hey, we can put retail here because we know it's going to do well in the next 10 years. My issue with Manhattan and the growth and, not being able to think about it is you don't really see that out on 24. You have all these houses out there, but like Green Valley Road where the Darrah's is, there should be retail on all four corners there. There should probably be a Walgreens or a CVS. There should probably be a little strip with, a Little Caesars or a Domino's in it, like some pizza place. There's nothing with a drive-through out there. Like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy that there is no retail out there, except for you got to go even further back to the west to go to where the Quick Shop is, where there used to be the Witch. I think there's a Papa John's there still, but there's one restaurant there. That's it.
There would be times where we'd be at baseball practice and be like, all right, we're gonna go to we're gonna not practice till 5:30 because of weather or whatever. I'm like, so I got to drive home for 20 minutes, grab food, and then come back.
Yeah, it's fascinating that there's nothing out there. What's funny is the kites that was out there, when they put that out there, that was the perfect time and place for growth. And when that closed, nothing else went out there. It was very odd because there should be restaurants that work out on that side of town. And they just, for whatever reason, just haven't caught on. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Are you ready to close this podcast with a bang?
Yes, I am.
The last question comes from Call Me T22. He says, name your top 5 golf courses in Kansas.
Yeah, I put one in for Cole, and I got to put one in for me.
Can I give my number one that I've played?
What is it?
It's Colbert. I know that I haven't played a ton of really nice golf courses, but I really think every single golf course I played, and not just in Kansas. Have you played Old Kinderhook, Zach? It's down at the Ozarks. It's really, really nice. But I still think Colbert Hills, scenic wise, when I rank golf courses, I rank them off of scenic wise. I don't rank them off of how hard or how easy they are. Colbert Hills has the best scenery of any golf course I've played at, and I probably played at 10 to 15 different golf courses, which isn't a lot, but that's not a small number either. So that's my answer.
Yeah. People probably aren't going to like hearing this, but Colbert is not in great shape right now.
I haven't been.
They did not have a good winter.
Yeah.
You can't drive on a couple of the fairways still. They're trying to transplant some grass into them, but a lot of the fairways died over the winter.
It's because it's an athletic, they use public money and it's an athletic thing. That's why, right?
They could use some public money.
Fitz, you didn't hear what I said.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Okay. I was told this question wasn't for me, so
I was trying to make a joke about Colbert Hills.
He was making a joke about your Colbert Hills tweets yesterday about athletic facilities.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I love the best response I got was, so do KU fans think K-State owns Tuttle Reservoir because the rowing team uses it? It's kind of exactly what they think.
But yeah, Colbert's kind of in tough shape right now. But it's probably in my top 5 for state course in the state. I haven't played everything, and there's a ton of courses in Wichita that I'd love to play, or Kansas City that are private. Can't play them, don't play them, don't qualify for tournaments to be able to play them. Sand Creek Station is definitely up there, and Firekeeper. So those two, I'll throw in Colbert for the sake of it being Colbert, a little biased there. For the other two, probably put Prairie Dunes up there. I've only played it once, but how can you not put that in a top 5 courses in Kansas? But I don't know what I'd do for my 5th course, because there's a lot of courses that I enjoyed playing, like in junior golf throughout the state, but are they a top 5? Do they deserve to be in the top 5 of golf courses? I just don't know. But I enjoy playing Salina Muni. I enjoy playing Heston. Cary Park is a fun little track to play. But I don't know if those are worthy of being considered top 5. Lake Shawnee and Topeka, love playing that golf course. Yeah, I enjoy playing golf generally, but I don't know if I'd consider them the best or the nicest courses, but just courses I remember playing quite a bit as a kid.
Do you know any good golf courses in Northwest Arkansas?
I haven't played any in Northwest Arkansas, but Blessings is the nicest, I think, and it's a private club. They played the NCAA national championships there a few years ago.
Well, never mind.
So
I'm not playing there.
yeah, I don't up in in Northwest Arkansas. I'm not kidding. I think there's one course in Fayetteville that's decent, that's public, and then everything else I think is pretty private. I think there's the Pinnacle Club that hosted an LPGA event, and that's I think even more exclusive than Blessings, I think. So there's so much private golf around there. What's crazy is how many country clubs there are in the Wichita area and the Kansas City area. You go down to Wichita, there might be 5 or 6 or more country clubs, and then you still have 4 or 5 public golf courses too in Wichita that they run, that the city runs as municipals. So it's very interesting. But yeah, Sand Creek and Firekeeper and Colbert, they were all designed by the same guy. And I actually think that Colbert's the worst one of those 3. I love playing Sand Creek and Firekeeper a lot more than Colbert. And maybe it's just familiarity of playing Colbert so many times, but I love Firekeeper so much. Such a great course.
Is that it?
Yep.
You golf guys. I forgot to mention this up top, but this episode of The Overtime and next week's, there won't be a lot of bells and whistles. Got a lot on my plate trying to get to vacation. Vacation's not easy. You got to work so hard to go on vacation. Someone's not worth it. Yeah, it will be. I finally get to see Asheville, the Ireland of the South.
Thank you for listening to the Power Cat Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to our show at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Power Cat Podcast, all rights reserved, gopowercat.com.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
Fill me in. What happened?
30 years ago, the convent stole our children.
Ruth Wilson and Daryl McCormick star in the new Showtime original series, inspired by true events, The Woman in the Wall.
They're trying to bury this. All of it. The whole world looks for some people, but others just disappeared.
Girls were locked up and children were stolen. And you're trying to tell me no one knew anything about it?
I'm just trying to find my child!
The Woman in the Wall, now streaming on Paramount Plus, only with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.